central bankers have received insufficient heat and blame for what they have proliferated. Certainly all those that have gone before those that you have now. So, I mean, if I was having a Truth and Reconciliation Committee for the forthcoming reset and the causes, the Adolf Hitler would be Alan Greenspan. He would be the chief villain in the Nuremberg trials for economic crimes against humanity. He was given the golden era, and he allowed everybody to get, excuse the phrase, shit-faced on debt. And that's essentially what's happened. He was supposed to take the party bowl away, and he said, there's no inflation, we carry on. Not recognizing that he was riding the wave of globalization, which was making it a lot easier. And he needed to be a sterner taskmaster in the good times, because he essentially created a scenario that Bernanke that followed him, Yellen that followed Bernanke, and now Powell, each had to double down on the policies of Greenspan, making the situation ever worse. Only now the cycle of globalization and the gift of globalization first flatlined and is now actually being reversed as we see the sanctions. The one thing I would say to many people listening to this is that it actively seems like government's policy and central bank policy is trying to inflame a reset. In other words, you can't be this stupid. Many people will say, don't put down to, intent what can be explained away in sheer incompetence. But these people are actually smarter than that. They want you to think, if you're criticizing, that they're incompetent. This is an engineered takedown. I refer to this as a controlled demolition of a global economy. This whole Ukraine, Russia, the sanctions, the antagonism of China, various other ploys that are being pulled are all designed to create stagflation. And can I also highlight, if you want to go to a technological oligarchical system and you want to get a situation where you have hollowed all the middle class out, so think the Bolshevik Revolution, communism, only you're doing it instead for today's era, where essentially there will be an elite ruling class. I wouldn't call them elite, but they're certainly psychopathic, and a spoilt and a peasantrified rest of the classes. The way to do it is exactly what's happening. So you create a major bull market first, you create a pump and dump scheme in essence, and a huge secular pump, which gets everyone really balls deep into hyper in financialization of everything. And then you crash the financial system and you take everyone down with you, except those that are orchestrating the game and are buying up hardened assets with soon to be devalued fiat and debt to nothing. So inflation absolutely enriches the billionaire class, and it destroys the upper middle, the middle, and the working poor classes. So that is the tool. And they have gone about creating, first, there's no inflation, let's just keep printing, so that when eventually it shows up, we've properly dug a big hole, and now we have the mother of all crashes on us. So we're going to go into a phase that is we've described as hyper-stagflation, which is essentially an extreme version of the stagflation of the 70s. Which is why you're going to have a lost decade or two on equities in revaluation, particularly in the mainstream equities, consumer, retail, those kind of things. Not so much in miners and commodity providers and maybe farmland. Those things will actually do well. So we're going back to basics of physicals and tangibles. And debt markets, all the instruments of hyper-financialization are now so bloated, they're going to contract and stagnate for an extended period. So anything that's banking system, the derivative system, everything like that, and we'll probably have major crises around them as interest rates continue to hike. They will be the first thing that breaks, because I think they're going to have to keep tightening till something breaks, even though the rate of tightening is showing signs that they will slow. Powell is in a position where he was quite clearly late to deal with inflation. We called that. We said they're not moving on inflation. They used every single word. There's no inflation. Oh, it's passing inflation. Oh, it's transitory. Oh, it's this. They went through everything, every stage of denial, to then do 4 back-to-back 0.75 hikes. So there's a lag effect on those hikes. Many people that are on fixed deals, if you're a homeowner in America, you might have a 4-year fixed deal or a 2-year fixed deal, and then you'll have a reset. It's only when that reset comes around and you have to get a new 4-year fixed deal that you actually get the impact of the interest rate hikes. People who spend and live on credit cards will get it quite quickly, but credit card debt pricing didn't come very low. It was always one of the most expensive. So a lot of these things, higher purchase on cars, we definitely have a subprime auto crisis going on in the States. I mean, when I was there were 72-month deals, which probably were paying off 60% of the car. So, and then a balloon payment. So, you know, my father paid his house off faster than some of these guys would pay a Ford truck off. So that's going to, all of these elements, and that's going to hit consumer retail, obviously automotives, it's going to hit debt, it's going to hit a lot of write-offs, it's going to hit personal bankruptcies. So this is stagnation. This is now paying for the binge. You've partied it up, you've snorted lines of cocaine and down tons of tequila, and everybody warned you that you're not going to feel too good for your exam tomorrow at uni, and now it's the next morning, you've had an hour and a half sleep and you feel like death warmed up. That's the economy's situation in a parable.